So today I have another episode of Matt's Mailbox where you guys send in your questions and I do my best to answer them. So if you'd like to get your question answered in the next episode, don't forget to leave those in the comment section below. So the first question today comes in from Mark Lowry and he asks, what are your thoughts on the new police-themed Battlefield game? Well, for any of you guys who don't know the news surrounding this story, we heard recently that EA have now laid off the team Ghost Games UK, who were working on a future Need for Speed title, and they moved across developers from that team to Visceral Games, who are allegedly going to be working on the next Battlefield title that will have a police-themed story. Now, Visceral Games are a developer that have worked with EA for quite some time now, producing big titles such as Dead Space, Dead Space 2, and the not quite so successful Dead Space 3. And we have heard rumours that Visceral Games actually did help DICE produce some aspects of Battlefield 4, so it wouldn't be the first time that Visceral Games have actually been involved with the development of a Battlefield title. Now, there are rumours we could see this game come out as early as the end of 2014, and without any other first-person shooter on the horizon from EA, this does seem like it could be the truth. Of course, we always see at least one first-person shooter released towards the end of every year. We had Bad Company 2, Medal of Honor 2010, Battlefield 3, Medal of Honor Warfighter, and now Battlefield 4, all released towards November time of the end of each year. So it does seem likely we could be seeing another FPS game released in November 2014. But this doesn't mean we'll no longer see DICE develop Battlefield games. I think all of this is actually a response to Call of Duty's new 3-year development cycle. We heard recently that a third development team have joined the ranks of Treyarch and Infinity Ward to help produce the Call of Duty games. So this means we will still see one Call of Duty game every single year, but it will have taken 3 years to develop rather than 2, so hopefully producing a much better quality game. And this is something I think we're now going to see with Battlefield. So 1 year we'll see a DICE developed Battlefield title, the next year we'll see a Visceral Games police-themed Battlefield title, and in the third year we may see a Bad Company 2 game, which is unlikely because DICE have said they have no intentions at the moment on working on a Bad Company game, so it's more likely that third year slot will be taken up by DICE LA's Star Wars Battlefront titles. So that way EA Games will have a brand new first-person shooter come out every single year. So I think to fill in this year's slot, as I said, there is no first-person shooter destined for 2014. It does seem likely that we could be seeing a Visceral police-themed Battlefield game as early as the end of this year. Now, for me, that does raise a few questions. Of course, the most obvious, it does seem a very short period of time to produce an entirely brand new first-person shooter, so we could see a game that's very rushed and likely to be like Battlefield 4, definitely not complete on release. Because, of course, if it's from Visceral Games, they may not actually be using the DICE Frostbite engine, so we could see an entirely different engine to produce this game, and because Visceral Games have never solely developed a Battlefield title before, we can expect it to take a little bit more time than a company like DICE who have worked on Battlefield for a number of years, so at the moment it does worry me a little bit that this game could be majorly rushed. Now, the next question today comes in from Skinet and he asks, how do you think Titan mode will work in Naval Strike? Now, of course, if you didn't see my previous Battlefield 4 news video, there was the brand new exciting information that we are seeing Titan mode return in the new DLC Naval Strike that probably will be released around the 28th of March 2014. So just over a month away we could be seeing that DLC. And we heard on the Battlefield website we will be seeing Titan mode return under the new name of Carrier Assault mode. Now, of course, Titan mode does originate from Battlefield 2142, and I did only have a few hours on this game, so I know it was a very successful game mode, and I have played it myself very briefly. And how this game mode worked, if you didn't know, there were two large spaceships in the sky surrounded by a force field, and down below on the ground there was a sort of conquest game mode that took place. And as you captured certain flags, you then captured anti-aircraft batteries that would then destroy the shield on the enemy ship. Once that shield was down, you could then board the ship, fight your way up and through that ship and try and destroy the mainframe. So with the name Carrier Assault mode, it's very easy to guess that these large spaceships have been translated across into aircraft carriers for Naval Strike. Of course, that would make sense being a naval-based DLC. So it's pretty obvious we're going to see two large aircraft carriers based out in the water. Each team have to try and board the enemy's aircraft carrier, maybe destroy an MCOM down in the engine room or something up in the captain's quarters. But what I'm not too sure about is what's going to replace the laser shield we saw in 2142. Of course, being a very futuristic game, we had these big plasma shields around the Titan ship, so I don't know how they're going to be replaced in Battlefield 4. Of course, in Titanfall you have to capture MCOM points or flags around the map to try and take down that shield, so maybe we're going to see some kind of anti-aircraft system on the ships that's completely dominating. If you try and board the ship before that's destroyed, you will be killed instantly, and until you capture certain flags around the map, only then can you board the aircraft carrier. So it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of game mode is changed up to match modern day style. Now I myself am very excited to see the return of Titan mode in Battlefield. Even though I didn't get much chance to play it myself in the past, I do know it was a very popular game mode in previous titles. Of course, the only issue with this game mode is, by the way it's set out, it probably will be a game mode we can only play on the Naval Strike DLC. So now I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Did any of you play 2142? Did you think Titan mode was a really good game mode? And are you pleased to see it return with Naval Strike in the near future? And of course, if you do want to get any of your questions answered in the next video, don't forget to leave all of those in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy the video, likes always support the video and they are much appreciated. But in the meantime guys, thank you for watching and I'll see you soon.